So at this point now in this journey, I'm 41 weeks, patiently waiting for his arrival, and then my husband, I'm so anxious. I just want to have this baby. I'm like, I'll take castor oil, I'll take anything. But I didn't. I was like, let me talk to my husband. Talk to him. He's like, no, just let everything happen naturally. And I was like, all right. And at the same time, I started getting these muscle spasms in my inner thigh that would like stop me in my tracks, where I would almost fall. Like it hurt so bad. It was like a Charlie horse in my inner thigh. Like, so that started worrying me too. I'm like, what if I have this pain during labor, like and delivery? Like that is not okay. That's not safe. I'm like, maybe most I don't want me to do this. Like, what am I doing? He wants me to go to the hospital because I'm getting worried. And I was kind of quiet about it because I didn't want to worry my husband. But then he started getting worried because he's thinking he's getting phone calls all the time by his mom. What? Maybe she got the date wrong. Like, oh my goodness, she's past 40 weeks. Like, this is crazy, you know? And I was like, maybe I'll go to the emergency room. My husband was like, yeah, go to the emergency room, you know? And so I was like, I'm gonna go to the emergency room. And I would tell them two things: the pain that I have in my inner thigh, and make it like I ain't worried about this baby, like, continue to grow. Because all my children, they came right on time. The only one that wasn't on time on my due date, or the day before, the day after my due date, was my last baby, who was 10 days early from his due date. That was it. Early though, so never late, you know? And so I go to the emergency room and I tell them I'm 41 weeks. They're like, what? You need to go upstairs to labor delivery department now, you know? So, I mean, I go up there and I tell them I have an issue with, they only want to talk about the pregnancy, but I'm like, I got an issue on inner thigh here. Like, what is this? Is this a problem? Is this something I have during labor, blah, blah. And they only want to talk about labor and delivery, but they were like, nah, this is fine. This is no concern unless it's warm, or if it has this or that. And it was like, those, because there's no pain when they touched it. It only just comes like sporadically out of nowhere. So they were like, no, this is nothing. It will just, you probably have a tear. It'll only heal when you drop the weight of the baby. It's just not healing because you have so much weight on, and so whatever, the body's not gonna heal it right now. So I'm like, okay. And then they were talking all about labor and delivery, and then I just started telling them basically everything. Not that I'm having a home birth, but just saying like, no, I don't have a doctor anymore. I had this doctor. I'm not gonna see them anymore. I'm just gonna come to the hospital when I'm ready. Blah blah. And they were like, we want to induce you this Tuesday. And I'm like, what? Like, and then she was like, okay, you're gonna make an appointment, blah blah, to come see me on this day. And if you don't have the baby by this day, then the next day we're gonna do induction. And then I'm like, no. And then I didn't want to argue or anything, so I was like, all right, I'll go to the appointment on Monday and we'll talk about inducing me on the following day if I don't have the baby this week. And I talked to them about everything once again. Basically, the doctor was so sweet, and she was like, I'm basically doing all of your prenatal visits at this one visit right now. So I mean, it was kind of nice because I went over everything once again, and even went over I went over the medical history and the last birth once again with them, and I found out some things that I'm glad I went, and I believe it was the Most High who made sure I went so I could find this out. And so I don't go to the hospital like I plan to after I deliver the baby, either there or at home. I found out some extra things I didn't know that I should be prepared for, which to get me induced, she needed blood work, and but I didn't want to do the blood work. I'm like, no, I don't feel like being poked. Like, I'm having muscle spasms, I'm pregnant, and I'm 41 weeks. Like, the last thing I want to do is get poked. I don't like that, you know? So I'm like, no. And then she started talking to me like, well, if you don't get this blood work, then your son is gonna have to get this vaccine, hepatitis B, because we don't know if you have it, and we have to protect the baby. In the state of Rhode Island, your you cannot release the baby without being cleared for hepatitis B or without him getting the vaccine. So I'm like, whew, I didn't even know that. So basically, they wouldn't have had my blood work showing that I didn't have hepatitis B. And then it would take a few days for them to get that blood work in before I could leave the hospital. So if I were to have this baby at home and then decide I'm gonna go to the hospital right away, or the hospital by the next day, or the hospital any day, if I went to the emergency room, they would say, "Oh, he doesn't have we don't have on file that you don't have hepatitis B. He needs to get the vaccine." And then I'm like, "No." And then they're like, "Well, then we're gonna keep the baby until he gets the vaccine." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, really?" So I'm so glad I found that out. So then I knew what to do. I went and got my blood work done. The next day, I got my blood work done, and I spoke to another nurse about all my complications, which was fantastic. I mean, it was kind of annoying because these are the protocols she needed me to do so I can get induced when I was 42 weeks, which would have been 3 days from then. And I was like, so I was able to talk to her and get more confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was so happy that I did that. I'm 41 weeks now in 6 days. I delivered the baby 2:50 a.m. that day that I was supposed to see her. And for consideration, because she was so sweet, I called just to cancel the appointment. And they knew me. They had me on file. So the person I was talking to, I'm like, "I had the baby, so I'm good. I don't need to go to the doctor." And they're like, "So you're at the emergency room? And I'm like, "No, I had the baby at home." They're like, "Come, you have to come in." Oh my, like they were so scary. Oh my goodness.